Hey guys, this is Tauna. Today we're going to be talking about otters. I love otters. My wife has tasked me with building her an otter deck for the upcoming Bloomburrow. I am incredibly excited to build this deck as well because I think it's going to be rather interesting. There's a few different things kind of going on. It is primarily a Spellslinger deck, so we're wanting to cast a lot of instants and sorceries and otters. And then we've also got some hand hate in there as well because we're going to be handing out card draw. So I've chosen Alania as the kind of primary commander here. We do have Bria in the deck, but Bria I just don't think does as well as a fully otter commander, while Bria is probably the better Spellslinger commander. I just like Alania more, being able to, throw around a free instant, free sorcery, and free otter each turn is just bonkers. So now, if you don't know how she works, essentially it is whenever you cast a spell, if it's the first instant or sorcery spell or otter spell, other than Alania, you've cast this turn, you may have a target opponent draw a card. If you do, copy that spell. So therefore, you get to copy 3 different spells each turn. 1 instant, 1 sorcery, 1 otter. Now, also that is each turn. It is not only on your turn. So you'll notice as well, there is a lot of instants that we've got in this deck built in, as well as the fact that we're going to take advantage of the fact that we're going to be copying. And as I said before, a little bit of hand hate as well in here. All right, so let's go through. So for the artifacts, we've got the basic kind of artifacts here. We've got Twinning Staff as well, which is going to make it so that whenever we copy a spell, we're going to copy it an additional time. Just naturally adding in an additional copy is going to be great. And then we've got Wishing Well in here as a graveyard recursion for our instants and sorceries. It's a new card. You tap it. When you tap it, then you put a coin counter on it. And each time you do that, then you get to cast an instant or sorcery with mana value equal to or less than equal to the number of coin counters on it from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. So that is helpful kind of recursion there for any of our instants and sorceries that we've used up. All right. So, and the fact that it's you are casting it means that we can copy it as well, which is really, really nice, right? All right. So moving on to our creatures here, you'll notice that I've just gone otters, right? There are cards that would obviously potentially be better in here. Stuff like Veyran, for example, would be bonkers in here. We have all wizards mostly. So therefore a lot of, stuff that can synergize alongside wizards and stuff. But as I said, I wanted to keep this otters, right? Veyran would be bonkers in this deck, but we're just aiming for otters. Let's see. So we've got like Bria in here giving everything prowess, which is nice, making it so that a target creature can't be blocked when we cast an instant non-creature spell. Coruscation Mage in here, enabling some burn with the deal 1 damage to each opponent when we cast a non-creature spell. Daring Waver. I'm not going to go through all of them, but these are all kind of built around the kind of Spellslinger stuff. The closest that we have to not Spellslinger is probably the Lightshell duo or the Kindle Spark duo, but even they synergize like half with it and half not. One of them ones I'm most interested in is Val Flood Keeper here. It gives all our non-creature spells flash, as well as whenever you cast a non-creature spell, we're going to buff up all our otters by +1/+1, and then we get to untap them. So technically, we can tap out and go and attack, and then on the next person's turn, we can cast one of our very cheap instants, and then boom, untap everything, and therefore we've got a whole bunch of blockers that all just got buffed up as well. Storm Splitter as well is very interesting. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, you create a token copy of it, and then we exile those at the next end step. But, we could get a whole bunch of these that are all going to be buffed up by, let's say, prowess from Bria, or, there's lots of great ways that we can take advantage of the Storm Splitter here. As for the enchantments, we've got some classic kind of Spellslinger ones in here, basically. The Fevered Visions here and the Unquenchable Fury are both like draw hate. So because of the fact that we're going to be handing out card draw whenever we copy a card, making it so that people get punished whenever they have, card draw. So Fevered Visions makes it so that if they have 2 or more cards in their in their hand during their end step, then you're going to be dealing 2 damage to them. Unquenchable Fury here gives something, makes it so that we deal damage to something whenever we attack based on however many cards they have in their hand. We've got ways to be able to bring our cards back from the graveyard as well, to bring our instants and sorceries back, make our instants and sorceries cheaper, and as I said, burn. The Storm Chaser's talent as well is great. The one that I like the most in here is Sorcerer class though, because it's going to give all our creatures you control tap, add red or blue, and then we can spell them, cast them on an instance of sorceries, because we're going to create potentially a lot of tokens. Then we can do lots of great things with that. Like for example, with with Storm Splitter here, each one of these tokens will be able to tap for mana as well, because it's just creatures, not non-instant creatures, not non-token creatures or anything. Propaganda's in here just to kind of buy us a little bit of time to make it so that people don't get punished, so that we don't get punished for like not having as many creatures out and stuff, to be able to make it so that we get a little bit of safety. All right, moving on to the instants and stuff. So the instants in here, we've got mostly like just some nice control-y ones, nice, counter spells to kind of protect us a little bit. Things that I have gone a little bit harder into are cards that untap. So like Frantic Search in here untaps cards. We've got, what was the other one in here? Snap as well, that untaps cards. Untaps lands. So making it so that we untap lands, because if you copy this, right, then you're going to be untapping 4 lands for the cost of paying 2. Really, really nice. The other ones that we've got as well are some of the cards that have the downside of you needing to discard a card. So Big Score in here, or, Thriller possibility. And I think there was one more that I can't think of. Oh, Lightning Axe in here. These ones here, because of the fact that to play them you need to discard a card, because we're copying that, you don't need to discard a second card, right? Because you've already paid the cost. You're just going to copy it. So this then becomes 1 red, discard a card to deal 10 damage, or you could split it across 2 cards and deal 5 damage to 2 different creatures. So lots of great ways to kind of make use of that, which is really, really interesting. Same with like the gift one here, the Long Rivers Pull, because it's you promise it when you cast a spell, you don't need to, give the card a second time either. Electro Dominance is a big finisher in here, because we're going to be able to copy it so we can cast 2 spells with it. Just overall kind of aiming towards giving lots of value from when we cast things, or just a little bit of control and stuff. Being able to remove enemies, cards and stuff like that to kind of give us time for our slow kind of burn spells and burn our creatures to have burn and our burn enchantments to get off. We've also got Dramatic Reversal in here. It pairs incredibly well with a whole bunch of cards, especially like, if we've got Kitsa in here. Kitsa is pay to, untap, copy, target instant or sorcery. So from what I can gather, we can potentially go infinite with this and be able to just constantly copy this Dramatic Reversal, which is really, really nice, right? Like, and because we've got a bunch of wizards, Flame of Anor goes really hard in this deck too. All right, as for the lands, I went with a cheap kind of mana base, just typical lands for Izzet kind of Spellslinger. There's not much to kind of talk about too much, except I did add in both the Lilypad Village and the Rockface Village. I thought that they were decent for this deck for our otters, because we've got a whole bunch of otters in here. We've got Ral. Have to have Ral because he's an otter, as well as the fact that he just synergizes really well with the deck, makes more otters, gets loyalty whenever we cast non-instants, and gives all our cards in a storm whenever we get to his plus 10, like his minus 10 there. As for our sorceries, mostly kind of big game finishers with Crackle with Power. Arcane Heist allows us to steal stuff. Rousing Refrain is another big hate card for graveyard. For hand size, because each time, we cast this, if people have big hands, then we're going to get a lot of red mana. Same with Jessica's Will. And because of the fact that, this is going to be able to be recurred, we're going to be able to copy this. We can get so much mana from them. It's going to be bonkers. And Past in Flames just to give more recursion to our cards as well, with Crackle with Power. If you get this to the point that you've got so much mana, you can just cast this and just finish the game. Right? You can target people's face with this. It's really, really fun. Splash Portals, cheap draw because of the fact that we're going to have otters out. Otter Ball just creates more otters. Now, as for the sideboard down here, I've got Lutri. You can replace one of the other otters with Lutri if you want to, or find another card that you want to replace with Lutri. The reason that I've probably replaced Frolicking Familiar there. The reason I've got Lutri down here is because technically he is banned. I don't think he should be. Like, I don't think she should be, but she is banned. So, you know, you've got the option. If you want to add her in, you can add her in. Just replace something else with her and just make sure you talk with whoever you're playing with at the time. Not as a companion. Don't play her as a companion because then that's what reason why she's banned. Just have her in the 99. She'll be perfectly fine in the 99. Anyway, that's it for today. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think of my Otter deck. I'll put the link down in the description and everything. And make sure you subscribe, share the video around. Have a great day and goodbye.